interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, by air, President Roosevelt has just announced.
On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese surprise attacked Pearl Harbor and devastated most of our fleet. The President and the entire Congress was...
Good afternoon. I'm Governor Bob Ferguson, and we're here today for a bill signing, but it is a lot more than a bill signing, right? So we're here really to honor State Senator Bill Ramos, who passed away very unexpectedly just a few weeks ago. And, we're really honored to be here to sign 4 of his bills in the home that Bill shared, that Senator Ramos shared with his wife, Sarah Perry, who also serves the public in many ways, but also as a King County Council member. And so, Sarah, I thought I'd turn to you first if you wanted to just say a few words before we get started. So appreciate that, all of us appreciate the chance to be here to honor Bill.
I just want to thank you for being here and for making this incredibly kind offer to be in our home to sign the last 4 bills. Right? I want to thank Representative Hunt, Representative Cowan, Erica Boyd, Corey Christopherson, and Tommy Duvall for joining us for this. And you all have a piece of bill with me, and that is so important. There's no way I would have gone to Olympia, and so I would have missed this. And I'm so grateful.
Of course. So I'll just share a few words, and we'll do my best to get through them, right? Together with all of you. So we're in Sarah's home, Sarah and Bill's home, of course, and it's not my first time here. We were chatting in the kitchen a few minutes ago, and for the folks who are here, who have obviously been here many times before, but I've been here for political events. I've been here for just dinner with my wife Colleen and you and Bill, just to enjoy dinner together. And so, what I would say about those experiences, I'm sure that everybody who's here would agree, is that those events are always filled with so much joy and community, folks coming together, whether it just was the 4 of us, me and Colleen and you and Bill, or more usually a lot of people, a lot of laughter, a lot of food, a lot of just good times, is the way I would describe it. And I think we all know in our own lives, if you're in a place that has that kind of joy, right, that you can't manufacture that, you can't fake that, it's real, And the one thing I just heard over and over, Sarah, as I've spoken to many people, of course, since Bill passed away, is that. Like, that's been a real consistent, common theme, is just the amount of joy that, the 2 of you clearly had together. But, I think a real blessing, or maybe gift is the right word, that I think you 2 especially provided was you put that out in the world, which is, a whole nother level. And I just want you, everybody felt that, everybody felt that in every interaction, I think is fair to say. And I think that's why, there's been such an outpouring, of love and support, for you and your family. I also want to say that there are folks here who helped Senator Ramos out on his political life to get where he is, and also on his work life to do the work that he does. Any politician, of which you and I are both in that category, understand that you can't get into the office unless you have folks help you on the campaign side. There are campaigns that are involved, and on the work side, they have your staff who's there for you and with you every day, and those are very close relationships, of course. And I will just say, we were talking about it, I think Bill's kickoff event in 2018 when he first ran for the state legislature. It was, I was sharing with Sarah how I remember going to that event and just taken back by the sheer size of the number of people there and how much fun it was. It was not a typical political event, was kind of my takeaway, and I've been to a lot of them, take my word for it. And but again, it's just sort of that experience of realizing right away, wow, these folks really, they are deeply connected to their community, have deep friendships, that is really meaningful and a credit to you and to Bill. What I'd like to do, and we talked about this before, is after Senator Ramos passed away, I decided to, in honor, of course, of Senator Ramos, to fly the flags at the flag at the Capitol at half-mast. And so we have that flag here, and Jeff from my team has it, and we'd love to present that to you, Sarah. Thanks, Jeff. And so, Sarah, this is that flag. So it was an honor to have it flying at the Capitol.
He would be so honored. And our family is so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
So do you mind if we just set this down the table over here? Is that okay? Thank you. But a lot of people talked about, seeing that and thinking about Bill. Yeah. Yep. We have a holder for the pens from the bills we're about to sign that Jamie from my staff made on her own.
So grateful.
Which is very sweet of her and kind of her. And so what we're going to do now is to sign the bills. And so the way this works is, for those who are viewing, is I typically give a brief description of the bills and then sign them. And so, and I think you mentioned this, right, that these are his last 4 bills that he was the prime sponsor of. And so one thing I thought about in driving over here is, Bill's contributions were many, state senator, state representative, city council member, but his service went back in many, many ways with tribes and community and the environment in many ways. This is sort of a small sample, but representative, this is his work and this is what he was doing. And so, so it's really, it's always an honor to sign any piece of legislation into law. Right, it's never, as a governor, you don't ever take that for granted, right? You're signing something into law. That's permanent for our sake, but obviously this is especially meaningful, so it's really an honor to be able to do this. Okay, so I'll do my best to read these and get through them. Okay, so the first bill that I'm signing, and this, again, these are all sponsored by State Senator Bill Ramos. Excuse me just one second. And this first one is Senate Bill 5435. And as you mentioned, Sarah, his legacy lives on in many ways. These bills are just one example of that. Senate Bill 5435 brings clarity to Washington State's public employee collective bargaining laws. Bill was a champion for working people in our state, to put it very mildly. This bill reorganizes and adds subchapter headings to the law, improving accessibility and ease of navigation for workers, unions, and employers, things he cared a great deal about throughout his time in public life. It's my honor to sign this legislation into law. Okay. The next bill we have, sponsored by Senator Bill Ramos, is Senate Bill 5556. This bill modernizes the Washington State Department of Transportation's Adopt a Highway program. This anti-litter program is intended to provide an opportunity for volunteers and businesses to contribute to a cleaner environment by enhancing roadsides and protecting wildlife habitats. This bill ensures that signage authorized under the program is contingent on the availability of funding for that purpose. It also ensures that program participants are meeting their commitments under the program. Again, another example of passions that Bill certainly had, that Senator Ramos, I'm using those terms interchangeably, my apologies, but that passions that he certainly had throughout his life. And it's an honor to sign this legislation into law. Okay, Sarah, you're going to notice I have 5 pens here. I hope you don't mind. On one of these bills, maybe this one, I'm going to use 2 pens so I could keep one. If that's okay. If that's all right. Wonderful. Okay, that's okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, this next bill is Senate Bill 5627. It provides much needed modernization of the Call Before You Dig Act. This law assigns responsibilities for assessing underground utility infrastructure, such as pipes, cables and wires, and requires individuals to call an 811 number before digging. This bill will streamline this process by establishing a website that provides the same service as the 811 number. It also clarifies requirements relating to marking underground infrastructure and aligns Washington with the federal code on pipeline safety. If it's okay with you, I'm going to keep one for myself, if that's okay,
Quite
as
all
a
right.
way to remember Bill.
Yes.
And I'll keep
It's
that in my,
lovely.
I'll be keeping that in my office.
It's
Yep.
lovely. Thank you. What an honor.
Thank you.
Oops. Oh dear.
It's a little delicate, we'll get
There
that
it
worked
is.
out.
Okay. I'll be careful with it. There you go.
Okay, Sarah, fourth one, you ready? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Senate Bill 5702 streamlines the process for setting or adjusting, or, excuse me, I'll read that again. Senate Bill 5702 streamlines the process for setting or adjusting toll rates. It removes burdensome bureaucratic timelines that have caused negative financial impacts for our state. Love the fact that Senator Ramos was trying to
Yeah.
make our state government as efficient as possible in his time in service.
away.
Yep. Currently, it takes more than 5 months on average for the Washington State Transportation Commission to set or adjust toll rates. Washington's toll facilities come with financial requirements, and failing to meet them carries serious outcomes, including damaging the state's credit rating. This bill, thanks to Bill, fixes that, establishing a more transparent and responsive process. We thank the sponsor of this legislation, Senator Bill Ramos. It's really been an honor to do this, and everybody here feels exactly the same way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bill is very much about the structure and the systems and making sure everything's efficient. And that little dig bill, and so many of these things that he's done just to make sure that the good government works for everybody. And he's that way, that humility, that just doing the work to make it better. So everybody is affected in a fair way, and it's beautiful that these are his final bills, and I simply can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you, Sarah, on behalf of everybody here. And, just as we conclude, I'll just say that, I'm thankful I saw you and Bill not long before he passed away. And there was an event downtown Seattle, and I was asked to speak at, and I texted you saying, "Hey, I'm going to this event." And first, I thought you guys might be there, and so I texted, "Are you going to be there, Sarah?" And you wrote back, "I'll be there. My hubby's being honored." I think is what because he was receiving an award at this event, which is typical Bill, right? That there's an event, he's being honored by a group. I think it was a business group, if I recall correctly.
The Latino bill, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was there with Colleen. So I was so thankful, looking back on it, that we had a chance to see each other and talk at some length at that event. And as I think I said sort of publicly after hearing of Bill's death was, it just was typical, I think, of what we all have in our conversations with Bill and Sarah, right, which was a lot of joy, a lot of laughter, big hugs, big smiles, right? That was, and that's how it was. I don't remember exactly what we talked about, but it was just, we're having fun seeing each other. It was great, and just he had that way about him all the time. And it's something we certainly love about him and the two of you together. You bet. So thanks for being here, and this concludes the formal part of this bill signing. We appreciate everybody being here. Thanks so much.